Okay, I'm back. That was really quick. So, over the course of the last week, I decided to make this kind of Lenten thing a whole series. God was moving in my heart a little bit this last week at Mass, and I'm gonna try to put out a video every week during Lent. I have it outlined. Let's see if I keep up with it. This is video 2. I'm gonna dissect temptations in this video. So last week, I talked about this new challenge, an addict's guide to Lent. And the whole point of it last week was to bring Christ into your suck. That you do this by no longer separating your body and soul. Today I want to expand on that, like kind of understand temptation a little bit more and provide an opportunity when you can bring Christ into this side of your life, because normally they're just separated. When you're praying, you don't want to think about all this awful crap that you do. What really got me moving in this direction was this story that Father was telling at the homily on last Sunday. And like, I heard part of it and then I didn't listen to the rest of it because my mind was just like, yo. And he talked about how much God loves his little children. And this was the part that I detached from the route he was going, because I know I'm in such a good place with God right now. Like our relationship is finally like really blossoming and growing. And Father talked about how much love God has for his little one. And I just imagine how much love he had for me back then. And there was just one question that coursed through my whole mind. And it was, God, why didn't you tell me all the struggles that were to come? I was thinking about my whole high school life, my college life, and beyond, and like how hard that was to deal with that. And I was like, God, why didn't you warn me about this? And there was just like this immediate answer that opened up, and it was, Eric, I wanted our relationship to be authentic, to be real, to go through the struggle so that you can truly find me. What a perfect answer that is. So today I want to talk a little bit about those struggles so that you can understand them more and bring Christ in to get to the other side. So I'm going to specifically address a pornography temptation today, and how this is a temptation that is part of you, the separated part, where your body is on this one path of like pleasureful crap and your soul is like over here like praying to save your body. Okay, temptation, pornography temptation. There's this view that the temptation is like this pull for you to do something you don't want to do. This awful, just like part of you that like, I don't want to do that, it's sin, it's awful. But like I keep getting pulled towards it and I don't know why. Okay, breathe. Let's kind of take this apart a little bit. Instead of pornography, let's remove all like the you're going to hell stuff and sin stuff, and let's just look at temptation. For this to make a little bit more sense as a subject of temptation, I'm going to use cake. And not just any cake, my roommate's cake. It's amazing. Now, I'm tempted to eat this cake. Why? Because it's damn good cake. I'm tempted to do it because I want to do it. And what's funny is like, I want to eat all the cake he makes except fruity cake. I don't like fruit in my dessert. So when he makes like a strawberry cake or a cherry cake, I am less tempted to do it. Like I can just walk past it, but when there's like a chocolate cake, I'm like, I know I just ate or I just worked out, and it's like, eat the damn cake. This is the struggle of living with an excellent baker. I'm tempted to eat his cake because it's amazing, because I want it. It's simple temptation, the thought of temptation. It makes sense when you put it this way. So now let's remove cake as the subject and put pornography back in. Is it possible that you are tempted to watch pornography because there's a desire that's there, because part of you wants it? Is it possible that the whole stigma that it is a sin, it's awful, keeps you from realizing, recognizing, admitting that there could be a part of you that wants it? Because whenever I was asked in the past, like if I wanted to watch pornography while I was struggling with it, my immediate like good boy Christian answer was no. Pornography is a sin. I don't want anything to do with it. It took me a long time to realize that there's more to this problem than meets the eye. Now for me, this began like the several first times I watched pornography, that my body and soul kind of were separated. There was this loss of identity is what we'll kind of be calling it throughout this series. And as they're separated, they kind of each take their own path. That the spiritual side grows in its own way and the body side grows in its own way. Its desires grow in its own way, in a natural way, when they're not aided with the spiritual side. Okay? So it makes sense that over time, as your body separated from your spirit, because you don't mentally go there, you don't address that, grows in its own natural way, has these natural desires, urges completely separated from the fullness of the Spirit. Now I'll talk about more effects of this that happen in some later videos, but as a teaser, one thing that happens is that your soul, this place of connection, only becomes so concerned with the sin of pornography. It's so worried about getting past pornography that all that becomes all it prays for. That becomes all you're concerned with. And because you can't get past this, and because your soul is like not learning to live in a depth, it becomes angry, resentful of this part of your life. And this part starts to like overshadow you. And this is the suck that is life that I talked about in the last video. Okay, back to this one. I want to practically talk about moments where you can kind of reintegrate a depth of spirit. Because as you pay attention more and more, you'll notice there are certain moments, certain times where your body resorts to these desires. These are often times that you are most stressed. So I want you to remember this acronym, and it is HALT. H-A-L-T. You are stressed, your body is stressed when you are hungry, when you are angry, when you are lonely, and when you are tired. These are moments when your body, separated from the fullness of the soul, it has its own desires, when it seeks comfort and pleasure. Over thousands of years, our bodies have been trained to seek comfort, safety, pleasure. And what you have taught your body over the last decade, or however long you've been watching porn, is that this is a comfortable, pleasurable, easy place to go when you are stressed, when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Now, if you think about these four and you start combining them, they make like super obvious situations when you struggle most with these temptations. Think about at the very tail end of a long day. You might be a little bit hungry. It's been a while since you had dinner. There's a chance you're angry based on anything that happened that day, based on like, say, the temptations existing already, that you're upset with where you are in life. You might be lonely. You might be just simply alone in your own room. You might be tired. It's the end of the day. Does it start to make a little bit of sense why so many people, like, right before they go to bed is such an easy time to fall, or right after school, or right after work? That the body has its own desires, that this is what leads to a temptation, that it's not just like, you want to do something that's so awful. Why do you keep getting pulled to something you don't want? There's a part of you that wants that. It's just like, you have to get past your pride in who you are as like a Christian to even look at it authentically. That is where you make real strides forward. That is where you start having less failure and more success, which are the topics of the 2 next weeks of this Lenten series. We'll be redefining failure as well as success. With that, I hope your Lent is becoming more fruitful as it goes, that maybe if you dropped off a little bit, this can just be some advice that no matter how close you are to Easter, you can pick it back up. Please pray for me. I'm praying for you. See ya.